Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Derek Chartrand and reporting to you live from CCN News at 6 o'clock. Today's topic, liberals and conservatives, and how they are similarly motivated to avoid exposure to one another's opinions. First things first, let's clarify what the difference is between a liberal and a conservative. A liberal, someone who is open to new behavior or opinions, basically someone who will like to hear your ideas and are open to change, and that they don't really hold on to traditional values, unlike a conservative who is adverse to change and unwilling to hear another person's story or their side on how they view it. Although previous research has found that political conservatives may be more prone to selective exposure, also referred to as discomfort triggered by a situation in which someone's beliefs have been clashed with new evidence. Then liberals, we find similar selective exposure motives on the political left and right sides of the spectrum. Liberals and conservatives reported aversion toward learning about the views of their opponents. Approximately 2/3 of people gave up a chance to win extra money in order to avoid hearing from the other side. Some of the major political arguments in today's society that includes gun right laws, legalization of marijuana, abortion laws, and same-sex marriage, all are some of the main topics that liberals and conservatives argue about. College students and administrators on both sides of the biggest source of tension in American political division have succeeded to suppress free speech on campus when it conflicted with their own beliefs. This study showed that ideologically minded people have to avoid listening to others' opinions who have opposing ideas. Studies have also shown that liberals and conservatives may have fundamental and psychological differences. A study from Behavioral and Brain Sciences by Dr. John Hibbling showed that differences in negativity bias underlie variations politically, ideologically. Conservatives have implicit negative bias. Through years of research, Hibbling used tools like eye trackers and other measuring devices to measure people's involuntary responses to different images. Images being very gross images like an open wound with maggots, or spiders crawling all over someone's face. Measured how long it took people to respond with their negative stimuli. Turned out that conservatives reacted much more rapidly to the negative stimuli, and scientists have studied that this type of behavior would be useful from the period of time dating 2.5 million to 12,000 years ago, and the ability to react quickly during that time to outside threats like lions, fire, mammoths, pretty much anything that will kill you. Although the theory may be far-fetched, the idea does apply to the characteristics of a conservative, a strong military obsession for guns, or resistance to immigration. Let's hear from people in Port St. Lucie with our co-anchor, Jarlin. Let's hear from what they have to say through her interviews, and we'll be right back with you in a short minute.
All right, so we're here with Dakota Triplett, local for PSY, and he's going to give us some of his thoughts on the liberal and conservative bias filtered through our media. So what are some of the ways that you prefer to receive your news?
I mainly use my phone, so social media would probably be the best outlet.
And do you think it's right for us to filter our media around our political perspectives?
I believe so, because we have various choices to choose from, and whatever side we're with, it's easier for us to gain knowledge in that sense.
And would you be more comfortable exploring the opposite end of the spectrum's ideals and views, or would you rather stick to your guns?
I'd rather stick to my guns.
All right. All right, and we are here with Kaylee from Fort Pierce as well, and we're going to ask her some of her thoughts on the political liberal and conservative bias going on through our media right now. So what are some of the ways you prefer to receive your news?
I receive my news mostly from just online social apps like BuzzFeed and Facebook, and I also hear just what's going on in the world through my work friends and stuff like that.
Okay. And do you think it's right for us to filter our media around our political perspectives?
I mean, yes and no, because the world is, in a sense, whatever you want to perceive it as. The world is basically your world, your oyster. So it's like what you want to see is what you're going to see, I feel like.
All right. And would you be comfortable exploring the opposite end of the spectrum, or would you rather stick to your guns?
I mean, for the most part, I would rather just stick to my guns, but I feel like that's because
It's what you're comfortable with?
yeah, pretty much. I mean, basically this opposite spectrum seems like just a vile place that like I don't want to be a part of. So yeah, I would just rather stay with what I know with what I know.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And you've heard it here first, folks. All right, and we're here with Dalton in Vero Beach, Florida. And I'm here to ask him his opinions on the political, liberal, and conservative bias going on in our media right now. So what are some of the ways you prefer to receive your news?
Usually just in the newspaper on my phone.
All right, and do you think it's right for us to filter our media around our political perspectives?
No, not usually. I just think it should be presented as facts, not really opinions.
And would you be more comfortable exploring the opposite end of the spectrum's ideals and views, or would you rather stick to your guns?
I like to keep an open mind and view other opinions.
There you have it. Hi, and we are here with Orion in Vero Beach, Florida, and I'm here to ask him his opinions on the political, liberal, and conservative bias in our media. So, what are some of the ways that you prefer to receive your news?
Mostly just on my phone, like articles and stuff that I see, that I read sometimes.
All right, and do you think it's right for us to filter our media around our political perspectives?
I mean, a lot of people do it just so they don't like see other things. Like I like a few pages here and there up from the other side just so I can see what's going on, sort of.
And would you be more comfortable exploring the opposite end of the spectrum's ideals and views, or would you rather stick to your guns?
Yeah, usually, you know what I mean? Not too much, but mostly just stick to, like, you know, what I believe in.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you, John, for those wonderful interviews. Now, let's discuss about a topic that most liberals and conservatives do have the biggest disagreement on in today's day and age, and that is the law, whether abortions should be legal, or whether people who do get abortions should receive the death penalty. According to an article from the New York Times, in some states, lawmakers have sought to pass laws that would ban or severely restrict abortion. In the event that Roe v. Wade eventually overturned or effectively gutted, the Supreme Court blocked a law in Louisiana that stated a single doctor must be authorized to perform abortions. With the latest development in the national legal fight over the termination of abortion law under a conservative leaning court, the Louisiana law requires doctors to have admitting certain privileges at their nearby hospitals. But recently, things have caused a flurry of the new state legislation that can prove important events if the nation's highest court rules on more abortion cases. So basically, lawmakers have passed a law that a doctor must have certain privileges in order to perform abortions, which makes it a lot more difficult for women to get an abortion, whether it is legal or not. I understand that some people want to stick to the old ways and that abortion is murder and everything else. But at the same time, we need to look at the health of women, their mental health, their age, if they're mature enough to take care of a baby. Just need to make sure we look at all sides. Thank you and good night.